What if you're just a character in someone's dream? Have you ever had that weird feeling, even just for a second, that you're an actor playing a part? That the words coming out of your mouth aren't really yours, and your actions are just following a script you've never even read? We usually shake it off as a strange, fleeting thought. But what if it's more than that? What if it's a tiny crack in the wall of reality? And what if you're right? What if your entire life is just a thought in someone else's dream? Section 1. The philosophical anchor, the ancient dream. This feeling is anything but new. It's an existential question that has echoed through humanity for thousands of years. Take the Chinese philosopher Zhuangzi, who over 2 millennia ago had a dream. He dreamt he was a butterfly, fluttering from flower to flower, totally content, with no idea he had ever been a man. When he woke up, he was himself again. But he was stuck with a question that has puzzled thinkers ever since. Was I, Zhuangzi, dreaming I was a butterfly? Or am I now a butterfly, dreaming I am Zhuangzi? This wasn't just a quirky thought. It was a profound challenge to the very nature of reality. How can we be so sure that our waking state is the real one? Think about it. Dreams feel completely real while we're in them. It's only when we wake up that we notice the seams, the lack of logic. As some have pointed out, you never really remember the start of a dream, do you? You're just suddenly there. This ancient story perfectly sets the stage for our modern anxieties about reality, reminding us that we are not the first to question if our world is what it seems. Section 2. The modern analogy, the simulation. Fast forward a couple of thousand years, and Zhuangzi's butterfly has been upgraded to bits and bytes. The modern version of this question is the simulation hypothesis, laid out by philosopher Nick Bostrom. His argument is that one of 3 things must be true. Either civilizations like ours always go extinct before becoming technologically advanced enough to create simulated realities. They get that advanced, but lose interest in making them. Or we are almost certainly living in a computer simulation. His logic? If any civilization ever starts running ancestor simulations, they'd likely create billions of them. That would mean the number of simulated minds would be vastly greater than organic ones. So, statistically, we're probably one of them. It's a mind-bending idea that has grabbed the attention of scientists and tech moguls alike. But it's far from settled. In fact, some physicists are pushing back, arguing that a matrix-style simulation might be physically impossible. They argue that the sheer amount of computational power needed to simulate even a tiny piece of our universe is so astronomically huge, it might exceed the limits of what's possible in a universe with our laws of physics. The takeaway is that while a universe with different physics might be able to simulate ours, it's unlikely a universe like ours could be running the program. Section 3. Blending concepts, the dreamer and the dream. So if a computer simulation is a long shot, does that mean we can all relax, secure in our base reality? Not quite. That core, unnerving feeling that we're characters in a story doesn't just go away. What if the simulator isn't a computer at all? What if it's a mind? This is where the simulation idea gets a fascinating twist from the ancient spiritual concept of non-duality. Non-duality is the idea that reality isn't a collection of separate things, but one single, indivisible whole. It suggests there is only one consciousness, and everything we experience, the stars, this screen, other people, even our own thoughts, are just ripples or manifestations within that one consciousness. The term itself literally means not two. In this view, You aren't a separate person looking out at an external world. You're a wave in a cosmic ocean of awareness, and this lines up perfectly with the dream metaphor. The people in your dreams think they're separate individuals living their own lives, but they're all just expressions of your single dreaming mind. What if waking life is exactly the same? This idea is even finding a strange echo as modern neuroscience re-examines Carl Jung's collective unconscious. While not confirming a literal shared mind, there's a renewed interest in the idea that humans might have a hidden mental layer of universal archetypes and symbols that pop up in dreams and myths across all cultures, hinting at a deeper, shared script from which our individual stories emerge. Section 4. Exploring the evidence, the script we follow. If we are characters in a dream, you might expect to find clues, glitches in the matrix, moments where the script peeks through, and many of us feel we have. That bizarrely strong sense of déjà vu, the uncanny coincidences that seem too perfect to be random, or that feeling of being guided toward a certain destiny by an unseen hand. But maybe the most powerful clue is internal. It comes from the puzzle of our own self. Both neuroscience and philosophy are making it harder to believe in a fixed, permanent self. The emerging picture is that the self is actually a constructed narrative, a story our brain constantly tells itself to make sense of the world. And that story can be fragile. Psychologists describe how our self-awareness can be a double-edged sword. When it's flexible and reflective, it leads to well-being. But when it becomes rigid and obsessive, a state of anxious rumination, it's tied to depression and anxiety. In those moments of intense circular thinking, people often report feeling detached, like they're just watching their life happen to them. This state is a perfect mirror of being a character in a dream. You feel like you're just following a neurotic script, because in that moment of rigid illusion, your sense of a free, acting self has dissolved. Section 5. The climax. What it means for you. This all brings us to the biggest question. If this is a dream, are you free, or are you a puppet? It feels like the ultimate trap. But there's a much more empowering way to see it. If you are a character in a dream, the fact that you are conscious is a game changer. It means that dream characters can be conscious. This brings us to lucid dreaming. Recent studies show lucid dreaming is a unique state of consciousness, a hybrid of waking life and REM sleep. During a lucid dream, brain areas tied to self-awareness light up, and the brain fires off high-frequency gamma and beta waves, the very patterns associated with conscious attention and decision-making when we're awake. This is huge. It proves that consciousness can awaken from within a dream, and with it comes a sense of control. Realizing you're dreaming doesn't make you vanish. It's the moment you can start to fly. So what if that feeling of being a character isn't a prison sentence, but an invitation? An invitation to become lucid. If your self isn't a fixed thing, but a flexible story, then realizing you're in a dream could be the first step to becoming the author. Maybe freedom isn't about escaping the dream, but about waking up inside it. By shifting from that rigid, obsessive self-focus to a more flexible awareness, you might just find the power to write your own script. The rabbit hole goes deep on this one, touching the very core of who we think we are. If you want to keep exploring the nature of reality, consciousness, and where science and philosophy meet, make sure you subscribe. More importantly, I want to know what you think. Have you ever felt a glitch in your reality? A moment where life felt like a dream? Share your story in the comments below. Conclusion: the waking moment. We're left where Zhuangzi started, with a question that just hangs in the air. Am I a man dreaming I'm a butterfly, or a butterfly dreaming I'm a man? Physics may cast doubt on a computer simulation, but philosophy and spirituality remind us that reality could be far stranger than a program. Maybe the universe isn't a machine. Maybe it's a thought. And maybe the point isn't to find the final answer. Maybe the point is to keep asking the question, to look at your own life, your thoughts, your very sense of self, and wonder, who or what is dreaming this dream? And what happens when the dreamer wakes up? Or more importantly, what happens when you do?